Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am ready for the next webisode. A make random AI children and then ignore them every day. Last week's episode was weird, and the comment that I've gotten most frequently about last week's episode of Wonder Egg Priority is that as a standalone individual episode demonstrating some weird shit and being a cool horror story, fucking awesome. As a part of Wonder Egg Priority as a whole, I'm not sure yet. I need to understand more of what context we're talking about and where Frill is going with all this shit. And it seems like we don't have that much time to do that, but we'll see. Also, some weird hullabaloo happened, I think, yesterday with the last episode of Wonder Egg Priority. I think, some bot ripped the thing and did something wrong, and so maybe it'll be a little bit delayed. But we've got a whole week for that to get sorted out until next week when we actually are waiting for the next one. So, here we are. It's Wonder Egg Priority, listed episode 12. It's one off because of the weird recap thing and all that jazz. And I don't know what to expect from the next episode of Web and the rest of the episodes of Web. I just don't know. I hope that there is some way, magically, that we can take all the shit that's happened in the last two episodes that's been really weird and strange and totally unexpected and tie it in with everything else that made a ton of thematic sense so that we make both thematic and, material sense. And most importantly, deliver on some kind of a story arc for our primary characters. We had them in a really dark place, and now they're in a slightly better place, but I don't feel like an arc has happened. I feel like the first loop of an arc has happened, the first, acceleration into the upward, and then it's just, petered out as our focus in the show started focusing on other things. So, what do I want from this episode? I'm not sure, because it's what I want from the whole last two episodes to wrap everything up. But I would love to see some kind of form of integration of what has happened before with what is happening now. We left off last episode with I not breaking an egg, with the idea that Frill is somehow getting inside people's minds, along with the just creating horrifying insect monster girls who come after you and murder your pets, which is awful. Just that sentence. Can we just take a step back and talk about that sentence? Creating horrifying insect monster girls who come and talk to you and then murder your pets. What the fuck? And then feed you parts of your pets, which maybe has something to do with instilling within you the fear of death and all of that stuff. Right now, Momo and Rika are both fucking, weeping and shuddering under blankets, unable to sleep, probably going to go down whatever road we're implying other people have gone down. So that's bad. And suspicions have arisen around Neru just a little bit, because we had the teddy bear and some other stuff, and the fact that we know she's a, somewhat bioengineered test tube baby of some kind. There's maybe some level of overlap here with that story and the Furiru story, and so I'm a little scared for Neru. Or maybe scared of Neru. I don't know which one is more relevant at the moment. But, when we sort of last left Ai in her arc, she had just realized, oh, hey, maybe Mr. Sawaki-sensei isn't the worst person in the entire world, and he seems to actually genuinely love my mom. Maybe we'll just table flip that and flip it on its head, or maybe we'll go further into Ai taking that and making more important realizations about herself and Koito and her life and her friends. And that's kind of what I really hope for, is that we manage to bring this back down to a story that is grounded, not down to earth necessarily, but that is grounded in our characters and the way that they are in their current point of life. Because at its base core, from the outset, Wonder Egg Priority has been a story about the struggles of adolescence and the difficulties that people, specifically girls, have during adolescence and how we fight against those. And the way that we fought against them for the first 6 or 7 episodes was, to be trite, through the power of friendship, but not in a we're best friends and now everything's okay sort of way, but in the slow build of someone reintegrating into society and realizing that connections with other people are not just on a surface level, but on a genuine, deep, Maslow's hierarchy, its type of way, are important to the individual. And I hope that we can bring that back, or bring something like it back, or make an argument against it, or just give something. Get something other than crazy crazy weird insect people who come and kill your pets, because I don't get it. and I'm hoping that I can get it because it was good and it's still good. And the production, while there have been little falters in terms of pacing, has been really interesting and really cool. So I want good things from this show and I want to like it a lot. We'll have to see what happens next. So let's do that. I've been blathering a lot because, I don't know, I've got a lot of thoughts that have been sort of bouncing around in my head over the last week since we watched the last episode of the last episode. So let's go ahead and watch the next episode. We've got Wonder Egg Priority, episode 12, up and ready to go. It's sitting at... Got something stuck in my throat. Oh, shit. Wonder Egg Priority, episode 12, sitting on my computer, up and ready to go at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction, as usual. A picture-in-picture version with the picture up there will be available in the description. Timer-based version up on YouTube. If you want to do a sync thing, you could do a sync thing. Get your copy ready because the beep beep timer is coming soon. And if you want the next episode of WEP up a little bit early, it'll be up on Patreon sometime whenever this one goes up on YouTube. As well as that, post the last episode of WEP, we will fairly immediately run a new poll. I'll include the runner-up from last season's recent seasonals poll, which I think was Jujutsu Kaisen by a pretty high margin. And I'll include that as well as all of the shows that I find interesting on paper from this most recent season, and we'll see what sticks and what people actually want to see. So if you want in on that poll, it'll be up soon-ish as well. Cool. Let's watch WEP. Episode 12, beep beep timer. Okay, hi. Starting with I in vast broad scenery. Good start. Oh, hi. Oh, hello. But are you? Yeah. Is this... Okay. This is our first major meeting after. Cool. Because it's really hard to share terrifying experiences. Ooh. Ooh. What's up with this long, slow pan? Okay, there we go. Hey? Okay. So you're going to cut ties. Just like my... Okay. Okay. What's up with all the composition? It's just not there. I mean, it's each shot is fine, but in continuity, it's not... It's not... Oh, we are back in the world. But if I release Leon, one of the beings will come and kill Leon, we think. Okay. Oh, you just pull Leon out without, my consent. What the fuck? Aka. Or Aka. Oh, okay, so you want this. Okay, Ego Kracko. Bloop, bloop, pop. Who is it gonna be? Hey, is it Koito? The fuck? Whoa! Whoa! What? Wait, whoa. What? You have to save yourself. I get that. But, what? Parallel universes. Got it. I say got it like it makes some kind of sense, but it fully doesn't. Okay. Also, that full opening sequence was the worst stretch of a couple of minutes that we've had in the show by a long shot. Like that's among the most dramatic moments of dialogue that the show has produced between our main characters, and we shoot most of it in one single slow zoom from far away. There's clearly some budget issue going on, or time crunch, more likely. Yikes. Right, an unvanquished warrior. Yes, it was mentioned earlier. Thank you, Leon. Okay. Okay, reflections. Okay, so we're in a branching timeline parallelism. Got it. Because you got to be specific about how your multiverse theory works. Suicide. Definitely. Shit. Right, I felt that pain. There was no Koito. Fuck, that's the primary difference. What happened? Did Koito kill herself before she met you? So Koito was the sparking difference. You know, that does innately do exactly what I asked it for, which is bringing it back to the importance of friends. Okay, but now... Oh. Music's on point. Auntie on one side, haters on the other. Okay. You are capable of being strong. I like it. I like the underlying message a lot. Yeah, we're spending a lot of time holding these easy shots to make space. Waiting for interruption. What the fuck? Yeah, there's no boss monster. What? What? Oh, got it. Took a bunch of pills, went into the pool, drowned self. Whoa. What? Hello, mother? Not mother. This is where I did it. Jesus, in the school swimming pool. How fucking horrifying. Well, you see. Oh, no. Was. Yeah. Hi, Sawaki-sensei, the bad guy? The fuck? He's an art monster. Uh-huh. Snap back to reality? Yep. What the fuck? All of the super bad dudes have been super bad. All of the Wonder Killers have been real genuinely bad, so I'm confused now. Please unconfuse me. Uh. Aww. Acid of some kind. Oh, no, just paint. Nope, it's acid. Thought so. Art is an explosion. Cool. Huh? Whoops. Okay. Ha. Whoop. That's cool. Thanks, Leon. Indeed. Doesn't seem to be. Oh. Okay. But we've never seen. Well, yeah, none of this is. Okay. All right. I believe that. I hope not. See, I'm waiting for him to throw some proof. Has you fooled. Yep. God, it's like the Mr. Robotnik fight. Oh, we are now underwater in Trauma Land. Oh no. Bloop. Color the whole place. And what will we see? Yeah, we're gonna start hallucinating. We are now hallucinating, I believe. And looking down at you is, hi, Koito! Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ha. Ha. What? Oh, having wet shoes. Got it. Yeah, totally feels weird. Mm-hmm. From whence comes this voice? Just the voice that's, oh, hello. He's just standing here. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it can be. That's utterly false. What the fuck? What? Huh. That was a great cut. Leave you behind. Woo! I get Spider-Man jumping up vibes. Break the egg. I mean, super cool. Super cool. What? Okay, the self-embrace. And the monster's still here. Huh? Huh? Mm-hmm. Actively supported you. Nah, you're just twisting everything. I'll give you that. That is really fucking cute. So this is all internal struggle against your own images of such things. Hey, cool shot. So, final fight against a constructed version of our teacher who we think is evil. Perfect reflection. Sick. They only redrew the head portion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No goop from ceiling. No ceiling goop. Please, God. Oh, shit. Okay, go to touch her. She disappears. Hello. Or does she say something? Oh, nope, she just disappears. Cool. Bye. Ceiling goop. And number 3? Whatever her friendship was, it worked. Okay. Great. So you're strong. If I can be strong, so can you. That's pretty good. Oh, there are so many interwoven great things and weird things about this episode. Oh, hello. So dot hyphen and kirarara did you guys blah 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 blah. Okay. What? Did we just get bonked into a parallel world? Oh, hi Rika. What? Hi Naru. Oh no. Means to an end. That's how you've always been. Getting a divide between the two of them. Oh, okay. Was that the eye? What the fuck? Shit. And that was a dream. She just woke up? Oh, she took it for the other you. Oh, she took it for you. So, that last line about you are the strong one. Because I am strong, you are strong. Oh, okay. Hooray, hooray, minna. What? Okay, smiling and success. Okay. Is that the end? What the fuck? So this episode manages to do exactly what I wanted, which is bring things back to a personal story for I about friendship, the impact that it has on you and your own choices to be resilient and save yourself. And it did those things in the absolute strangest, weirdest fucking way that it possibly could have ever. I'm so split. I'm so split. I like so much of it. What's crazy is I'm gonna wait until discussion to say it so that people who listen to the discussion can start with that. I'm gonna say it there. Oh shit. Okay. Great. Okay, I want to talk about something. Right here, this moment where she's in the bathroom and the shot is somewhat reminiscent of being curled up inside an egg, and she and her parallel selves all go, or her parallel self say thank you at the same time. If like 3 episodes ago, we didn't introduce Kotobuki, didn't introduce, or no, we could introduce Kotobuki, could introduce parallel worlds, don't introduce Frill, don't introduce the bug monster girls, don't get too much deeper into Akka and Ura-Aka. We leave that whole chunk where things got kind of sidetracked. If we leave all of that out, this could be the final episode, and that could be the final moment right there. Why? Because that is the fucking completion of Ai's arc. It just happened. We just saw it completed. If we didn't have that weird divergence where we take a left turn and then we go an extra city block around the block to make weird things happen, we wouldn't have too much stuff to explain right now. As it stands, it feels to me like we just finished Ai's arc, right? Now, I think that what we're going to do, because we are not we're obviously not finished with Ai's arc, and we've got all of this tension going on with Rika and going on with Momo and going on with Neru to some extent is weird. And then there's the whole Frill thing. What we're going to do is Ai is going to take what she's learned in this episode and then turn that into goodness out into the world, which I think is the next step in this sort of a developmental story arc, right? We start with a character who is fully isolated, self-isolating, removing herself from society and in a downward spiral through connections and attachments, which we now find out Koito was one of the crucial moments and crucial parts of those attachments, right? And was the thing, the like rock in the river that diverted her course. Was Koito. So we find through connection that Ai is able to gain some solace and gain some ability to exist within the world and some ability to feel strong and be resilient and be powerful and be a person who can determine her own destiny. We bring that to this episode where Ai meets the other Ai. She literally meets the self that could have been if things had been different. And we learn that it was because Koito was there, because there was someone, regardless of what other people can say about her being a fake friend, to Ai, her friendship was real, and that realness of friendship is what allowed her to come out of her deep, genuine depression, right? It also caused more of her deep, genuine depression once Koito killed herself, but that whole cycle would not occur if Ai didn't meet Koito. She would have gone and been the one who committed suicide herself. So I think the next step in that is taking your solidity and stability internally and expressing that out to the world, becoming a sunflower that spends its resources just on growing until it gets to the point where it can reveal its beautiful golden light to the rest of the world, right? The metaphor is complete. Pretty much everything in the episode and in the story tracks if that's the arc that we're going for. Unfortunately, there's all this other loose hanging stuff to deal with, and I understand now why they need or feel they need a like longer episode length in order to manage all that stuff. What I'm worried about is that none of that shit fucking matters. Our climax is here as Ai breaks through the egg of herself, saves her alternate universe person, and is saved in turn by the alternate universe person, right? Like she manages to demonstrate that she, even without Koito, would have some level of strength and determination and just needs a spark by showing her own strength to her own self, and then her own self from the other dimension shows her strength by taking the blow for her, right? Likewise, we also fight or Professor Sawaki. I guess he's not a professor; he's a teacher. There is a difference. Fight teacher Sawaki Sensei, and we fight the manifested doubt and fear and worry and hatred and jealousy and all of those things as him, right? We fight that and defeat it, going along with the whole arc. If we had only never diverged, things could be much more interesting, I think. Or maybe less interesting, but more straightforward and a much simpler, much more doable story. And I think that's a reasonable thing to ask for from a show that, again, spends its first half on this very personal, very real, very human story, and then introduces these fantastical elements to make it interesting. That being said, we do have these fantastical elements, and now we've got a story to tell with those. What story that is, I fully don't know because those elements keep coming out of nowhere and being really confusing. Like, why is girl number three's name not a part of the same thing as dot and hyphen? Because dot hyphen sounds like Morse code dots and dashes is what I think of. So why is third girl's name like 30 syllables and weird? I don't know, but that's not the core of the thing that's going on here. The core of the thing that's going on is we have the finale for our core arc and our core main character this episode. It's done. I don't understand what more we do with her character except that she takes the lessons that she's learned and expresses them out to the world. Now, that can have some goodness to it. That can be really great. But now we've also got all this. It feels like all we have left to do is clean up, right? Like an epilogue. And that's not terribly exciting. That's not what we're here for. So I don't know. Man. I'm really torn about this episode. I'm really torn because, like, this shit, telling herself to shout that she regrets killing herself and to accept life, and then embracing herself. This is some powerful stuff. There's some stuff here. There's some shit going down, and it's good. The moments with her mom where we see this genuine compassion and like good parenting back and forth are really good. And then there's the opening scene where instead of, we praised the first pretty large section of episodes for its ability to use shot composition, use shots of characters and really intricate character acting in a way that reminds me of, oh fuck, what's her name? Keion. KyoAni. It's fully not in Naoko Yamada. As soon as I start talking about it, there we go. Naoko Yamada. In a Yamada-esque style where we're using our characters' shape and bodies and legs and like clenched hands and other things to demonstrate character. Instead, we have and maybe this is a choice. Maybe they chose to do this for some level of dramatic effect, but we're at 30 seconds now. We're at 1 minute and 23 seconds now. Why are there 53 seconds of this long slow pan? I guess because we couldn't figure out anything else to do with the dialogue that's occurring right now. But we see the layout of the characters, we see where they all are, we see how they're sitting like regarding each other, and all of them are talking like about important things and expressing really interesting stuff. Like, so how come you didn't tell us anything? That's a line that has a lot to it, right? And yet we just keep doing the pan. This makes me think that there's a crunch thing going on, a crunch issue. Likewise, there are a number of scenes once we get into like fighting and running territory. I think specifically right about here, once she goes for swinging the thing, swinging and banging, we spend it's just a little bit too long right here and a little bit too long on the running scene. We hold this and we just keep holding it. And then we hold this and we just keep holding it. Feels like we're buying time, just a little bit. And there's this weird contrast between we're trying to buy time with the way that we're directing things and we need more time to tell the story that we need to tell. It feels like things are falling apart a little bit. And yet it still manages to deliver a pretty interesting emotional climax for our character in this episode. So again, I have a bunch of criticisms of this episode and a bunch of things that I don't like. And then I have a bunch of praise for this episode and a bunch of things that I do like. And the two things fully do not contact each other. They're in totally separate areas and totally separate categories, right? Like, there's some directorial weirdness, there's some editing and pacing in terms of shots weirdness that makes me think there's some kind of crunch going on. And then there's some really excellent wrap-up storytelling where we're putting like putting the dots and dashes, but like putting the period on the end of the sentence that is Ai's story so far, in a way that collapses everything together and makes it all kind of make emotional sense. Not necessarily logical in-world sense, because the fuck, but emotional sense is absolutely made here. We have a character struggling and getting to a point where she's struggling less, where she feels like she's capable of handling the struggle, is maybe a better way of putting it, right? Like, life doesn't get a ton easier, but the things that she has accomplished and the things, specifically friends, that she has obtained over the course of the story make things doable and deal withable, right? And then we have the conflict between these characters. Didn't you choose this? And she just turns and is like, Neru, no. Not the time. And we fuzz Neru out and she falls into the background. Still don't know if I should trust Neru. Also because she's there with Aka and Uraraka in the end. It's weird. I don't know, man. And then it gets so strange because we spend a lot of this episode jumping around from place to place. And I know that we do it because we have to, so that certain beats appear and certain beats are fresh in our mind. Like, is Ai's mom a good mom? Yes. As far as we can tell, in every way that we've ever seen, Ai's mother is as supportive as she can be. There was some weirdness in the very beginning that was Ai's, like, feeling unable to talk to her mom. And that's a sign of, like, problematic parenting. I just used the word problematic, of problems in the parenting, but it's not necessarily a clear indicator. It's also an indicator that her mom is probably struggling with their relationship as well, as most familial relationships are a mutual, multi-directional struggle. But we managed to set up the beats in this episode that show her mom going out of her way to make sure that Ai feels like there's a space for her at home. Ai comes back in the door after trying to go to school, and her mom doesn't even question it or mention it. It's just like, help me out with this. And that's good. Those beats have meaning and weight, and they have more meaning when Ai's internal doubts, manifested as Sawaki, tell her, like, oh, your mom is just snatching up a boy and getting blah 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 blah, and Ai is able to dispel those because she remembers the truth. That's important and good and cool, and I like it. Also, I will say that the simple shock of the reveal that Ai is herself the one in the egg, and that we are in, like, then we get this, and then in this shot we're in the perspective of Ai looking at Ai. That's a pretty good reveal and pretty freaking intriguing, and of course it makes sense once we bring into the account the whole multiple worlds parallelism. Luckily, we explain it right here. We're like, what kind of parallel worlds are we talking about? And the answer is infinite, time-dependent parallelism based on choice and primarily altered by free will of sentient creatures. That's great. We needed that. We needed to understand that if we're going to care about those things, we need to care about those things, which is cool. Okay. I'm sorry, you don't have to apologize. I understand exactly why. And we hear the other thing that's done here that I think is great is Ai's voice actress puts on a pretty good performance as a version of Ai who never, I guess you could say, broke out of her own shell and needs someone else to do it for her. I mean, she's just playing the same character, real sad and introverted and having difficulty speaking and expressing herself. But yeah. Also, just the way that we bring up the even koito who is really solid. And also this moment is great character acting. See, there are these peppered throughout this one, and then also the I regret it when she does that. There's some, like, stretch to her face that I want to go and look at because it's really excellent. And a super expressive cut. So that's good. Haters come. Or I guess these are all anti, and then pool. And then we explore this, and we show that this is where the other Ai killed herself. Horrible way to go. First off, don't commit suicide. Don't do it. There are hotlines, and they help, and there are reasons to do that. But definitely don't commit suicide by drowning. It's like one of the worst ways to possibly die. Don't do it. Jesus Christ, holy shit. Okay, so she demonstrates some curiosity, her own desire to blah 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 blah, and then hi. So that's a pretty scary image. I props to the staff and stuff for making genuinely scary images of the Wonder Killers, because they keep making them pretty freaky. Sawaki himself is not that, he's not that distorted as a Wonder Killer. He's still his face, just with some lines on it. And then the weird paint things kind of makes him more terrifying. It's like in a video game where, you know, you've been fighting gigantic monster, Ridley, giant monster bosses and shit, and then you get to like the final boss, and the final boss is just a dude, and you go, oh no, oh no, this is a problem. It's kind of like that, where his design being simpler makes him a little bit scarier. You immediately start wondering, what the fuck can he do? And the answer is, he can shoot lots of paint. Lots and lots of paint. Okay, so Sawaki Sensei, hi, I'm your mom's fiance, which is a crazy way of introducing himself as a monster, but yeah, I love it. So, flashes to demonstrate that mom is a good mom. Cool. Flashback to fighting, shooting. And then I'd like to I'll collapse all this in post, in editing, but I'm going to look at basically every line that comes out of Sawaki's mouth and everything in the back and forth between them, just because I'm interested in that dialogue. I think that even if it doesn't land so well because of the pace of this episode, some of those lines don't have time to sink in. I think that the staff think that they're important, and so have put importance and important things into those lines, because this is, again, if this is the main like climax of Ai's internal arc, and I do think that there is room left for her to grow out and make an external arc, a little more external change, something like that. I want to focus on what they think is important here for wrapping this story. So give me a sec. Yeah, compliance is such a pain these days. What the fuck? What is he talking about? How are we teachers supposed to blow off steam? What is he talking? I don't understand what he's talking about there. And we get snarky Ai. I guess this moment doesn't land super well for me. With Ai running for her life and being like, haha, joke's on you, Mr. Sawaki. I guess it does immediately end with her and the person she's trying to save slipping and sliding into a wall, so I guess she gets her just desserts. Okay, and then this is what happens to students who disobey their teachers. So this Wonder Killer is fully a manifestation of Ai's internal doubts, right? Because all the other Wonder Killers have been, like, real villains with things where they're going on their own real, like, way of seeing the world. Like the pig dude, and the train rapist dude, and the fucking big sword dude with the dick nose. They all saw the world in a way that was deeply self-serving and saw other people as means to an end. But Sawaki's, at least this head thing, is kind of just all over the place. There's no thesis, no argument that it's making until a little bit later, I guess. And even then, it's all I wouldn't say ridiculous, because our manifestations of doubt are usually not ridiculous, but just so obviously wrong, but not wrong in the way that, it actually kind of hits a nail on the head. When we're up in our own heads, when we're doubting ourselves, when we're doubting things in the world, when we're struggling, a lot of that internal dialogue, that internal voice, a lot of what it says doesn't make sense. It's expressions of emotion in ways that like are inaccurate. For example, the voice that says, "Oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm not worth anything. I'm fucking blah blah blah," or worse, when it's not ideated as the I, and instead the voice says, "You're a piece of shit," inside your own mind. God, you're a piece of shit. God, you're useless, God, you're blah 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 blah. Those things, those statements don't make sense when you look at them from a more rational, outside of yourself perspective. And I think that Sawaki, as a manifestation of those doubts, does a really good job of not making a lot of sense. It's a weird thing to praise writing for, but I think it does work. Weird. Okay. You're not Mr. Sawaki. I am Sawaki. I'm your first love. Right. Like, okay. Sawaki Sensei is a lot nicer. And he is fully able to keep dodging her, which is a part of it. Easy to fool when you're born handsome. But all of these things are baseless as far as we know, right? These things could be true, but everything we have seen of Sawaki is not that, right? None of these things actually match with his persona. I guess maybe it's more accurate to say that instead of being the voice of internal self-doubt, this whole and being effective at that, at my previous point, would be to say that when we have this sometimes happens to me, and I'm going to extrapolate that this happens to other people, because I know a couple people who it does happen to, but I guess these kinds of internal things are things that are hard to have conversations about very frequently. When I end up in conflict with others, whether you're in conflict with a parent or in conflict with a friend or in conflict with somebody who's not a friend, often you start thinking like, God, why would they act that way? But you don't actually think, why would they act that way? You come up with all these assumptions for why somebody is acting in a particular way, and like, oh, they're a mean person who hates me and is a total dick and probably like does all these bad things and probably blah 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 blah. When usually they were either unaware that they were acting that way, or they had some particular reason for doing so, or you took something the wrong way, or right, that those are the things that we bridge via communication and by actually trying to compassionately and honestly understand each other. But when we get in our own heads about the conflicts that we have with other people, we almost inevitably make them out to be the villains and create all of these like false reasonings for why they do what they do. And if we were to investigate those and be like, would I ever act like that? Do I know anyone who would ever act like that for those reasons? The answer is probably not, usually not. So Sawaki is a really good example of that kind of thinking. Not of that kind of person, but that kind of internal thinking about somebody else. That is what works. Yeah. And of course, probably the best line in the episode, "You're a monster that my doubts and suspicions created." The real Sawaki isn't like that. And of course, there's a built-in rationalization and a built-in like way around that answer, which is, oh, that's just my public persona. On the inside, I'm a monster. Rawr. But I don't think so. I don't think so, and I don't think we think so. So they dive into the pool, slightly dramatic, and are pulled out hallucinating by Koito. Hi, Koito. So Koito walks the line between friendly and like venomous again in a weird way. The whole like, don't you feel disgusting? Like, yeah, okay. And then, come on, okay. And then we get all of this with Sawaki talking. I knew how you felt. You love me, your first love, a pure unsullied love, just like a childish love. Blah, blah, blah. Adult love is full of self-interest. It can be. Sad, isn't it? It doesn't have to be. And then we're also doing, I actually really like the framing and composition of this sequence with the centered Sawaki, the use of the chainmail to create a feel, a particular vibe, and then the flipping of scene for half faces and as though it's all internal battle, Sawaki on the shoulder sort of thing is pretty good. Frowning eye, more smiling eye. And that's why you should die before you grow up. A world be free of care. Won't you be happy there? And you only live once. Enjoy it. You regret it, right? Koito, you regret it, right? Koito doesn't answer, so she calls out to her other self. Say it out loud. I regret it. But the first one is good. The second one, we get, like, there's a full scene where her face is fully squished. This is a cool cut. This is a really cool cut. And her hair gets all messed up. Nice. Okay. That fades over here. And we let go of Koito. And she zooms away from us. The space becomes immediately larger. And we run and begin to manifest our own reality, right? Leaping into the sky and breaking the egg. Crack, crack. Now I'm really mad. Her line. And she breaks through to herself. They embrace. Really solid. Solid thematically and solid, like, visually and animation-wise. Solid in every way. Also, just a cool location to have this fight. He keeps going on about mom. And then she comes back with the reality of how mom acts. And, like, that dispels the illusion and the falsehood. I want to support her too. And he comes back with your this is just so cute. They managed to actually make a really, really, really cute pouty moment, and it's really good. It's real cute. Cool. I'm done with the me that craved attention. Great line. I also really like the 3D background work that's going on here with this whole rotating shot. It's not quite the level of the one guy at KyoAni who makes the rotating shots. I don't know his name. But there is this one guy at KyoAni who makes these crazy awesome rotating shots, and this is an attempt at something similar, and it works. And that's got props. I choose to believe. I'm going to believe. Hell yeah. If I don't, I can't protect anyone. He says some bullshit. We splatter him against the pavement. Koito's back. Koito puffs into nothing. Oh, I thought I wanted to hear the truth. I was saved. The truth doesn't matter that much. Interesting. Actively chooses to become a warrior of Eros. Okay. So, right? Like, that's where things just diverge. Right there. Right? Arc is going, arc is going, arc is going, other story. What? Ah! I hope we can tie them together. Okay, I want to get strong like you. Yes, but I'm you. You are strong like me. What do you mean? And then Kirara Rodriguez matured 8, Evening Star SS Plum. What? 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 And throws a weird boomerang. We fight the boomerang. Random cut to Rika, Neru, mission over, hatred stuff. Some conflict between Aka and Ura Aka. Confusingness. I won't kill you. I won't. Horrifying monster. We wake from this dream to get here, and we discover that the other me jumped in front and protected me from that. Wait. Wait, what? Because hairpins are the way that we can tell them apart, right? Strong coit. Okay. Strong eye has the yellow thing. Weak eye. I'm sorry for calling it strong and weak, but it makes sense, right? Strong eye has the yellow triangle. Weak eye has the wrap. Hi Kirara Rodriguez, blah 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 blah. Strong eye manifests her weapon and blocks. Pushes her back. Rika stuff. I won't kill you, I won't. Left side so we can't see. Left side so we can't see. New eye wakes up. The eye that we have known. Strong eye, yellow thing in world took the shot. Weak eye with the wrap is the one that still remains in this moment. But there's the thing about injuries healing, right? No, but injuries we sustain in that reality do come to there. And then we're here. And that's her? No, and now we see that it is... What? It is Weak Eye with the Raps who has taken the eye out. What? Oh. Oh. Parallel Universe Dream Eye pulled her own eye out to replace... Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. That could be conveyed way better. Holy shit. Okay, so our eye, who has been our eye for the whole story, takes the hit for the one who had already killed herself. Good luck, me. I'm sorry. Thank you. She puffs into smoke because she takes her own eye out and replaces hers. So she remains Otto Eye, but a new Otto Eye. Are we actually restarting? Or is this just a moment? I have no idea. Fuck. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't know, man. This episode is fucking weird. Yeah, this episode is fucking weird. I don't know that end changes much. Right? Like, sacrifice. Everybody sacrifices. Everybody is grateful. For both eyes are. But only one of them has both eyes now. I don't know if that changes too much about the arc. She still saves another variant of herself and realizes in doing so via reflective surfaces, which there are a ton of in the episode, that she is stronger than she was and she is better than she was. And she can spread that goodness to others. So she makes that choice to become a warrior of arrows and to do precisely that. That's good. I don't know that the switcherino is interesting. I don't know. I also don't know if we're jumping from here to another parallel world and starting the story again. I don't know. Hard Madoka, I guess. Maybe. But I don't know. I still think that my initial take is basically the same as my current take, which is that I like a lot of things that happen in this episode because we focus once more and we tighten our focus on our main character, her core story, her core arc, her core struggle, and her way of overcoming it in a really effective way. And then I don't know that I love the pacing and production of this episode. There's a lot that feels a little bit off to me, and that's unfortunate. I also don't know if all of the other elements of this story are wrap-upable in a satisfying way. And it makes me question why all those other elements are part of the story in the first place, because they don't feel that necessary. Instead of being a stop along the road to get to the ending that I care about for our core characters, they feel like a divergent path that goes off into the wilderness and gets lost in the weeds. So I guess I have the opportunity to be proven wrong come next week and come the 2-part or double-length finale, when we'll find out for certain and once and for all whether they managed to make this show stick its landing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that in certain ways, this episode has already done so and already stuck the landing. The question is, why is there another episode then, right? And the answer is, of course, there are all these other elements that are completely not wrapped up, and we haven't completed the arcs for the 3 other core characters, so we got some more shit to do. Will we be able to manage to do it? Will it be effective? Will it make me cheer and shout and jump out of my seat and cry and laugh and all sorts of things? I don't know, man, but I really hope so. it has the opportunity to do so. It has the basis and foundation of these characters, their relationships, the weird world, and the weird, like, thematic elements that they're dealing with, that it absolutely could hit any and all of those beats. Will it manage to do it? That's up to the production staff, that's up to the writing staff, and that's up to the people making this happen. Um, I really hope that they can bring this baby of a project to fruition, because it's obviously, very obviously, a project that a lot of the people working on this are very passionate about and care about. And so I am thrilled and terrified for what will come next, because it's right at the edge. It's like the final solo of the opera piece. Will they nail it or not? They've gone okay so far. They've done all the setup pretty well. Here's the climax. Here's the finale. Here's where we have to tie everything together. Will we stick the landing? I don't know. We're going to have to wait till next week to find out. So, I've been Teeaboo. This has been Wonder Egg Priority Episode 12. I hope you've enjoyed it as much or more than I have. If you've got your own thoughts of things that happened, if I missed things, because I missed a thing and then caught it later. I assume that I missed more. Throw that shit in the comments. I'd love to read it. As usual, I read pretty much all the comments, or throw it in the Discord if you're already in there. I'd love to talk about the episode, and or more see other people talk about the episode. I've done my talking about it for now. If there are more things to address, I'll address them come next week, in the beginning. But there was Wonder Egg Priority 12. See you next week for Wonder Egg Priority der Finale. Peace.